Good evening. Now you're adrift in a sea of lies, a foolish villain in an endless chapter. The demons riding behind your eyes, a simple shadow we can fight together. I'll never walk away. Let's kill something.
Attention Media World, and welcome to Halloween month. Let's continue with the collection.
Why did you black out the sun?
So the collection is a sequel to the 2009 The Collector. Returning cast members Josh Stewart and writer and director from the Saw franchise will come back to do this sequel. If you haven't seen The Collector, I did a review for that for last year's October month, so go and check that out, folks. There'll be a link in the description below somewhere on the video or down below. The Collection was meant to come out last year at cinemas, but unfortunately never reached our UK cinemas. It came out in the US and limited cinemas here and there. We did manage to get a DVD release in the UK, but it wasn't until way later on, until way after the US got their Blu-ray and DVD, which is pretty annoying. But I finally got my one a couple months back, and I think, you know what, it's Halloween month. I think I'll talk about the sequel and express how much I actually really enjoyed it. The story for The Collection continues a couple of months after the events of the first one, The Collector. Josh Stewart's character Arkin still being held captive by the Collector, and he sets up these nasty kind of traps in this kind of nightclub in the opening sequence. He manages to escape, but he soon finds himself back into the lair of the beast of the Collector after a mercenary team ask him to find, basically say, you're the only survivor of this guy, you know where he lives, you know where his home base is, HQ in a sense. We want to put a task force together, a little mercenary team, because an actual daughter, a billionaire's daughter, has been kidnapped by the Collector, and of course they want to go in to try and rescue her, and they're basically practically blackmailing Arkin's character to go in and guide him through the traps. Now I want to say straight away, I really enjoyed this movie. I felt it was a very different style in terms of the first movie. The first one was a bit more of a psychological kind of home invasion type movie, creeping around the shadows. Lighting was interesting. The traps were very kind of believable in the sense of how they were set up, and I really like the Collector's kind of facial reactions and motivation in that movie. It's very low key in the sense of that. The Collection is a bit more budget in some of the locations, and it's a lot more faster paced also. One of the problems I have with this movie, I'm going to say straight away, is just how fast this movie is. I think it's about 80 minutes. It's not particularly massively long. It gets straight to the point straight away. Within the first 10 minutes you're already in the HQ layer, which is kind of a good thing in a way. We'll just kind of slow down a little bit here. Unlike a film like No One Lives, which actually is like a 90-minute movie, generally that is a film that's quite fast paced, but at the same time it's still kind of believable. You can still believe, yes, that's from point A to point B. This one goes from point A to point D, automatically. What the heck just happened? You just missed something there. There is some delayed scene footage from, of course, on the DVD and the Blu-ray features, which does add an extra 10 minutes worth of character development and actual pacing, which if you want to do a fan edit you can do. That's something to think about. I did like the fact that it's going into an action/horror genre this time around. It does need to be different from the first one. The first one was very home invasion. This one is obviously a lot more kind of going into some sort of a madhouse type of thing like that. And I love the fact that the mercenaries coming in, guns blazing, kind of like that. Got a assault rifles, handguns type of thing, and they're just going into some room traps. It's very like Saw 2 in the sense of each room, each kind of section has got its own kind of little traps and weird things. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Condemned in a way, that sense of that kind of nasty atmosphere and just the weird kind of freakish kind of people there that just kind of attack you for no reason, because in there's certain bits where he's like, if you don't make the collection, he will basically turn you into some sort of a druggy, insane rat in a sense. He put a mask on top of you and put you in a cage, and he will just use you for entertainment and that type of stuff. I really like the idea of that. Goes into the kind of his mindset a little bit. This movie is clearly just to have fun with it. It's not like a deadly serious kind of movie. It's a bit over the top in some of the traps and some of the death sequences. Now the characters of this movie are not too bad. I mean, you got Arkin's character and Josh Stewart's character from the first movie coming back. I felt he did a pretty decent job. Definitely, I was siding with his character a lot more than anybody else's character. Mainly the fact that he's experienced this kind of thing before, and he's going into a very different type of environment, into the house of fun in a sense, and just, you know, going up close and personal against him. I really liked him as an actual character and how he kind of reacted to such situations and kind of warned the mercenaries and all the people, like, you know, if he finds you, make sure you just kill yourself, because he will make your life a living hell. I really like the idea of that. I really love some of his lines. Pretty decent actor as well. I really liked him in this movie. I felt he was pretty good. He's a main kind of lead actor, I think, definitely for sure. In terms of just a character you wanted to see, you want him to find the Collector and beat the shit into him, and there's definitely some worthwhile scenes that he does have, so it's really, really good. You also got the kind of rich billionaire's daughter character, kind of the main reason going into the asylum house in a sense to try and rescue her. I thought her character was pretty good also. I definitely was rooting for her. She reacted smartly to some of the situations. She tried to help people in some bits, and she acted smartly when the Collector came into certain rooms and trying to find her and that type of stuff. I felt she reacted better than most other kind of, you know, survival characters do in most slasher or horror movies do. I felt she was quite smart. She was definitely knows what to do, and she used her knowledge quite smartly with, like, picking locks and that type of stuff. So she wasn't a dumb character. She was actually pretty smart for the situation, reacted exactly how I would expect someone would do, but even calmer, even more cooler, and just, you know, trying to keep your shit together. And I really liked that. So I was definitely rooting for her character as well. And you got the mercenary characters, which were, you know, just typical kind of characters. There's something there for the body counts. Kind of our main kind of leader of the mercenaries was pretty decent. He definitely had some good scenes as well, and I really liked his leadership, and I really like how they kind of communicate with each other, especially with going up against certain obstacles. So not too bad. I felt it was a good little mercenary team, little squad team there that was quite effective in some of the scenes, but obviously they got their ass whooped in a lot of them. So yeah. The person who played the Collector this time around is a very different actor from the person who played the Collector in the first movie. I thought he did a really good job. You know, it's not much really. He doesn't really talk throughout the entire movie. He just has to wear a mask. He has to move in a certain way and has to be very intimidating with his eyes. I felt definitely some of the scenes, and definitely a good portion of the movie, he did a really fantastic job. There's just a lot of great scenes where we're just like looking at you, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill you, in a sense. Especially the scenes between him and Arkin were definitely fantastic. Very, like, this is personal kind of thing. And I really like when they used his mask and they used his eyes glowing, and just certain things where, like, he thinks he's top dog, he thinks he's kind of beating him, and I like the idea of that. And it's some get in there scenes, definitely, for sure. The death scenes in this movie are worthwhile and very satisfying, very Saw-like-ish in a sense. You kind of get the feel like this is handmade traps, you know, he's kind of how they set them up, you know, and how they kind of got booby traps and triggers, which some people can just fall into accidentally. And I really like some of his movements, especially within the kind of the main HQ Asylum house, how he reacts, and he knows every inch of the locations, and he kind of, like, you know, goes around the shadows and that type of stuff, and just little things that are really interesting, and just like, whoa, that was cool. I wasn't really expecting that. And there's definitely different levels and different gory kind of surprises behind each door in each room. So it's always interesting, and always look at it visually anyway. It's a horror movie made for horror fans, and you can clearly tell that from the writers and the directors, and the cast members are just having so much fun in this movie. You can definitely tell that, which is unfortunate why I didn't get a full-on cinema release. But if you're definitely fans of horror movies, if you like gore, you like your kind of interesting kind of serial killers, your main kind of figures and type of stuff, definitely check out this movie for sure. Definitely check out the first movie, The Collector. Definitely worth checking out. I'd really feel a lot of fun with this movie. Very satisfying. Definitely wanted to see. I wanted it just a little bit longer, maybe just 20 minutes longer, maybe some more character development. One of the things I didn't like about this movie is they kind of ignored an aspect of the first movie, which kind of really annoyed me in a sense, with the kind of the whole mother and daughter situation. That's the whole motivation of the first one. They kind of just like ignored it from this one, which is kind of like, huh? Kind of thing. They just want to get to the main kind of stuff, which I suppose in a sense does work, but at the same time you shouldn't have done that. The writer should have known and should have questioned it and should have dealt with it in a certain way maybe. But you know, that's one of my little negatives about it. The third act I felt was very satisfying. Definitely what I wanted to see. It didn't like, you know, massively sequel bait. They could do another one if they wanted to, but in all fairness, this could just end it. This could be the very last one. I'll be very, very happy. If they do make another one, I'll just see how they do it, judging by the ending of the movie. And I really like how they kept this movie, you know, still lots of mysteries, still lots of questions to be answered, and you know, it doesn't solve or spoon feed everything to the audience. It keeps things open for you and makes you want to come back for more, which is always good in a horror movie for sure. So that's been my review for The Collection. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Have you seen the movie? What do you think? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? I want to know your opinions. Comment down below. So in the meantime, as you feel me from Going TV, it's like